Hey Sages, and welcome to your June 2019 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky here to give you guys hopefully another amazing reading for your month ahead. And I know this time is a little bit strange for you. We are in Gemini season, moving into Cancer season, which is always typically a very energetically active and potent time for Sagittarius. Gemini is your opposite sign, so there's a lot of activation for you as your home planet Jupiter is retrograde, along with Saturn and Pluto, and moving towards a Mercury retrograde at the end of the month and moving into July. So the energies are getting quite strong, Sages, and I think that you have a lot of integrity, a lot of truth and clarity to be seeking during this time. I think you have to be careful to not over rely on luck or over rely on things just inherently playing out in your favor. That will happen for you later this year as Jupiter moves direct, but I always recommend for Sages when Jupiter is retrograde to make sure that they have everything in order and to make sure that they understand the reality of a situation. The moon is your central theme this month, which deals with illusion, it deals with haziness, it deals with not quite being sure of a situation, and ultimately using your intuition and feelings to guide you through something which is not completely clear. So that is going to sort of be the central idea of what happens to you this month, is maybe not being completely clear on what you want, maybe not being completely clear on how to define a relationship or a location that you're visiting or a path in your life. It's probably not going to find itself completely defined this month. Although you can get much closer and you can see more clearly than you might imagine what you truly want and what you know you need to do. But the question is, can you become active within that? There is perhaps a bit of passivity, Seven of Pentacles, the Moon, Eight of Cups. There's a passivity, and the Hanged Man, of course, with the Major Arcana, that wants very badly to become more active and outgoing. King of Wands, Queen of Wands, Seven of Wands, Eight of Wands, Ace of Swords. There's a bit of a battle and a bit of a tug of war within about how you're reacting to a situation or the decisions that you're making, as I feel this month to be a very changing month for you, very transitional, and it pushes you towards about September where that really culminates. So what you're seeing in this month is that some of the important decisions which take you through the rest of the year are wanting to be made, but you're not quite sure how to make them, or you're not quite sure what is the best starting point for them. I do think you're involved in some kind of journey this month, some type of traveling, whether that be physical or emotional or spiritual. For a lot of you, I think it is physical. There's a sense of, King of Wands, Eight of Cups, perhaps walking away from a destination or walking away from somewhere that you thought would treat you better. Through the reflection that you do in this new place, there's an understanding that it needs to be walked away from for some of you. And for others of you, it has more to do with your spirituality. You kind of come into a place that you wanted to be for a long time, but you realize it's not quite right, and you move away. There is a moving away and a very spiritual sense of moving away, a very spiritual sense of walking back or walking away. Whenever Eight of Cups and the Moon come together, especially if they're actually, touching each other in the reading, I always find that to be a very emotionally, spiritually honing sense of walking away or leaving something behind. So yes, I do find you to be leaving something behind this month, and that could be different depending on what type of Sagittarius you are. But things quickly come in for you. I love Eight of Wands, the way that it's placed in your reading. You have 8 cards close together, and you also have Ace of Swords. So there's a wealth of knowledge or a wealth of wisdom sort of flooding you towards the end of the month, and it really guides you to do the right thing. Your intuition is honed and your thoughts are logically sound. You just have to watch out for how other people or how your environment tend to cloud that up here. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the week-to-week Sages and see more clearly what's coming up for you. In the first week of June, you have Seven of Pentacles rooted down by King of Wands. So there's a bit of an inner conflict relating to your reflection as a person, relating to the way you mediate things as well. So Seven of Pentacles is very much a calm, sort of pensive, reflective energy. And King of Wands is a more gallant, boisterous, flamboyant, not so much looking back, not so much reflection. So I feel this to really represent your own inner turmoil right now, where reflection does not feel comfortable, yet at the same time, direct forward motion does not feel comfortable. You do, to me, feel pulled back, and it feels that reflection is necessary, but it has to be weighed also with a sense of spontaneous adventure. And I think that finding a creative way to harmonize these two ideas is the only middle ground. And just sort of understanding as well that you might feel a bit of turmoil relating to how you decide to just work with time right now, how you decide to work with, looking back or looking forward. There's going to be a bit of both, so brace yourself for that. In the second week, you have the Hanged Man, rooted down by Queen of Wands. And again, this is a very similar idea, almost an identical congruent energy line to the first week, where you have a very passive, except this time it's much more concentrated, it's much more universal. The Hanged Man is major arcana. We've shifted. There's a similarity between Seven of Pentacles and the Hanged Man. Seven of Pentacles at times can be a minor arcana representation, in my opinion, of the Hanged Man, because it is not moving, it's very still, it's very stagnant, it's kind of forced to look back, it's forced to reap what it sows, it is harvesting the crop. And the Hanged Man is doing the same exact thing, except it's more internal. It's not a physical expression, it's not a material expression of harvest. It is a spiritual expression of harvest. So that just kind of comes to the next level in the second week. Yet at the same time, there's this Queen of Wands energy rooting that down, which again deals with a more outward, popularity-oriented, I don't want to say egocentric, but it is an ego energy, and not necessarily a negative version of ego energy. But this is about how you look. This is about what you want to look like, and this is about wanting to look optimistic, happy, jovial, and kind of unconcerned with the past. So again, we have two quite incompatible energies connecting to each other there, and I do think that Sagittarius has to really look at this and has to really understand why such incompatible desires have found themselves within, because you kind of have to choose. And it does make sense because you move into the third week with Eight of Cups rooted down by Ace of Swords, and it's like with all of that sort of I don't want to say incompatible, but it's not congruent. It's not the most easy to be had energies simultaneously of the first 2 weeks. It does generate a walk away, a leave behind. It generates a movement, a mobility, where you're moving away from this sense of unsureness. You're moving away from this sense of, I don't know where to move. I don't know where to go. I don't know where my mind needs to be. And it just feels like that's not luckily falling into place. As you travel or as you move through this journey, you're going to have incredible ideas. So Ace of Swords is rooting down Eight of Cups, and to me this shows an incredible silver lining, an incredible light bulb moment, but it's not as spiritual as some of you might like it to be. It's more so tangible, and it's more so dealing with how you formulate your life and how you walk through life. Is a light bulb moment relating to that. And I feel also a light bulb moment relating to spatial awareness, where I need to place myself, where I need to go and place myself, where I need to live, where I need to journey toward. That's going to become clear in the third week, and I'm getting chills as I say that, Sagittarius, because the third week of June, in pretty much all of the readings this month, has been so just overwhelmingly compatible, but also just spiritually connected energies coming up. The card combinations that I've seen for the third week, as well as the intuitive messages I've channeled in for the third week of June, for nearly everyone have been pretty awesome, if I can just say it. Like, awesome is the only word that comes to mind, and you're definitely in that category. I love those two energies together, because it says to me that your direct action and knowledge of what you need to do, where you need to go, shows you the enlightenment that you've needed for a long time. And you move toward the fourth week with the Eight of Wands rooted down by Seven of Wands. You've got a little bit of chronological order there, where your fire energy, because again, the wands are fire elementally, both fire energies, it really pulls you past that pensive yet aggressive. I want to call it pensive aggressive. It's not passive aggressive. It's like pensive aggressive in the first 2 weeks. It really burns past that and catalyzes you into a new way of being. And yes, I do think there is anger that needs to be worked through. I think there's aggression that needs to be worked through. Seven of Wands is rooting down Eight of Wands, which says to me that your own temper turmoil, your own opposition that you've faced, and the resentment that has built through that is going to affect how you take the benevolence that inevitably comes in the fourth week. So you have to make sure that you are, ready to accept benevolence, that you're not so guarded or so angry that you can't see a blessing when it arrives. You want to use the third week of June to really wake up and understand where the blessings are, where you're, like, where is X on the map, Like, I feel like you're so maybe disoriented in the beginning of the month about where to go, and through the third week, you sort of find the location. It's like X marks the spot, and in the fourth week you really have to employ your own discernment and your own emotional control and ability to let go of emotional patterns that don't suit you. You have to employ that in order to get to this point, this X on the map, and then you have to be able to take the benevolence that's there and find the treasure. So you're kind of like seeking treasure in the month of June, and I feel that it doesn't all quite come to you until September, but there's an immediate, it's sort of like if you find the point on the map and you get this treasure, you find another map that sort of keeps you searching until about September, where Jupiter's back direct, where it's moving towards the last part of Sagittarius over those few months after, and where you can truly reap the incredible benevolence. So yes, your central theme is the moon. Don't demand too much of yourself here and now when it comes to finding the treasure. You have to understand that Jupiter is retrograde, Saturn, Pluto retrograde, and Mercury is moving toward it. Nothing's going to be perfectly easy or perfectly clear, but you are making such progress that the other signs are not quite there. The other signs are, and in that way you are very lucky that a lot of the other signs are not quite making as much progress as you can this month. So remember that keyword that you can make. This isn't guaranteed progress. This isn't guaranteed, rising above this past difficult, pensive, aggressive situation. This is working. Eight of Cups, some people think Eight of Cups is like an inevitable transition. That's more of Six of Swords. Eight of Cups requires work. There's emotional, like, honedness that you have to employ. Eight is a high, evolved, emotional card number. So this isn't like a early number. This isn't like a 1 or 2. This is an 8, so we're required to have emotional evolution and required to have emotional intelligence, especially with Ace of Swords, to do this transition. It's not just going to happen by itself. So the transition you can achieve this month, Sagittarius, is far greater than a lot of the other signs. And you have to remember that. You have to remember that it's not just going to happen and that you have to employ it, and that it's probably going to be a little bit murky, especially in the beginning of the month. But at the same time, I feel you to be healing. I feel you to be charging your body, health getting better. The moon can be a health card as well. You need to watch out what you eat. You need to watch out for your sleeping patterns and how that relates to like your nervousness or anxiety. There could be just a bit of nervousness or anxiety that leads to stagnation in Sag, but again, you're overcoming that in the third week if you let yourself. Anyway, Sagittarius, thank you so much for being here. I have enjoyed giving this reading to you. Do click the like button below and subscribe and comment if you would like. And my moon video about your moon sign will also be listed in the description box. I so enjoyed doing that. And you can pre-order my new book on the moon. And that's kind of perfect. I mean, the moon is your central theme, so you should definitely check that out. I have a new ebook coming out in July, which is about your moon sign, the house it's in, the phase it was in when you were born, and how you can utilize all of those energies, the sign it was in, to help your healing journey. So that will be linked below. It is up for pre-order. And yeah, thank you all so much. I am so looking forward to your journey this month. I love the stuff coming up for Sagittarius. It's really, really great. And you're going to see by the end of June that you are kind of at a pivotal place. Okay? Thank you all so much for being here. We'll talk soon. You can click the center of your screen to check out that pre-order for moon symbols. Bye.